Thursday, October 4. God's chosen people. In calling Abraham to be his servant, God chose for himself a people to represent him to the world. This calling and election was an act of God's love and grace. God's call to Israel was central to his plan for the restoration of all humanity after the devastation and disunity caused by the fall. Sacred history is the study of God's work toward this restoration, and a major component of that plan was the covenant nation of Israel. Question. According to Deuteronomy 7, 6-11, why did God call Israel his people? Why did he choose the descendants of Abraham as his people? Deuteronomy 7, beginning at verse 6. For you are a holy people to the Lord your God. The Lord your God has chosen you to be a people for himself, a special treasure above all the peoples of the face of the earth. The Lord did not set his love on you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any other people, for you were the least of all peoples, but because the Lord loves you, and because he would keep the oath which he swore to your fathers. The Lord has brought you out with a mighty hand, and redeemed you from the house of bondage, from the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. Therefore, know that the Lord your God, he is God, the faithful God who keeps covenant and mercy for 1,000 generations with those who love him and keep his commandments, and who repays those who hate him to their face, to destroy them. He will not be slack with him who hates him. He will repay him to his face. Therefore you shall keep the commandment, the statutes, and the judgments which I command you today, to observe them. God's love for humankind is at the center of the election of Israel as his people. God made a covenant with Abraham and his descendants in order to preserve the knowledge of God through his people and to bring about the redemption of humanity. Psalm 67 verse 2 reads, that your way may be known on earth, your salvation among all nations. Yet it is a supreme act of love that made God choose Israel. The descendants of Abraham had nothing to boast about to claim God's unmerited love. Deuteronomy 7:7 read, the Lord did not set his love on you, nor choose you because you were more in number than any other people, for you were the least of all peoples. It is a strange reversal of values that God uses to select his people. While humans look at the power, wisdom, and self-confidence to select leaders, God does not choose the strong and mighty to serve him, but those who sense or acknowledge their weakness, folly, and nothingness, that no one might glory before him. 1 Corinthians 1, verses 26-31 reads, for you see your calling, brethren, that not many wise according to the flesh, not many mighty, not many noble are called. But God has chosen the foolish things of the world to put to shame the wise, and God has chosen the weak things of the world to shame the things which are mighty. And the base things of the world, and the things which are despised, God has chosen, and the things which are not, to bring to nothing the things that are, that no flesh should glory in his presence. But of him you are in Christ Jesus, who became for us wisdom from God, and righteousness and sanctification and redemption, that, as it is written, he who glories, let him glory in the Lord. Yet look at the privilege that was theirs. Ellen White writes in Christ Object Lessons, page 288, God desired to make of his people Israel a praise and a glory. Every spiritual advantage was given them. God withheld from them nothing favourable to the formation of character that would make them representatives of himself. Their obedience to the law of God would make them marvellers of prosperity before the nations of the world. He who could give them wisdom and skill in all cunning work would continue to be their teacher, and would ennoble and elevate them through obedience to his laws. If obedient, they would be preserved from the diseases that afflicted other nations, and would be blessed with vigour of intellect. The glory of God, his majesty and power, were to be revealed in all their prosperity. They were to be a kingdom of priests and princes. God furnished them with every facility for becoming the greatest nation on the earth. And so to finish today, what parallels can we find between what God did for ancient Israel and the calling he had for them, and what he has done for us and the calling he has for us as Seventh-day Adventists? Bring your answers to class on Sabbath.